Hey guys, this is going to be my May wrap-up and June TBR, where I go through the books that I read in May and tell you really quickly what I thought about them, and then go through the books that I'm planning to read in June. I read 6 books during May, and the first one, which again, as I talked about in my TBR, is covered with like a paper cover thing, so I can't show you the actual cover of the book. But it is Nippon, the Land and Its People by a Japanese company who published it in the 80s, I think, the 70s or 80s, I'm forgetting now. I realized that their employees were coming into more and more contact with foreigners, and the foreigners had questions about Japan that their employees couldn't answer, and so they wrote this book for their Japanese employees to help them answer the foreigners' questions about Japan. Then a publisher in Japan thought that it would be a good idea to publish the book for the public, and so they did that, and this copy was published in Japan, and I don't know how it got to some like secondhand store in Indiana, but somehow it did, and it came into my possession. I didn't actually rate this book because it felt weird doing that. There are parts of it obviously where it's outdated because of when it was published, and it's been like 30 years or something. It was cool to read kind of for the novelty of it. Then I finally finished the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism 2nd edition, which I have been reading for like more than a year. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Then we have Harry Potter and History by Nancy R. Regan. She edited the book, and the book is actually a collection of essays about Harry Potter and history. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, but my review for it kind of also talked about some things that I didn't like about this book so much. It is a collection of essays, so my exact feelings vary a bit depending on each essay. As a Harry Potter fan and someone who enjoys history, it was fun to read this book. Then I read a book that I don't currently have to show you because I actually gave it away, and that kind of might already tell you how I felt about it, but it was On Being Stuck, Tapping into the Creative Power of Writer's Block by Lorraine Herring. It's a book that I got from Goodreads First Reads, and I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. The book is designed to help people overcome writer's block, and it does that basically by giving you meditation and journaling ideas. Like, the entire book is based around the idea that you should meditate and journal and stuff, and you need to get in the right mindset and you'll overcome writer's block, motivation to overcome writer's block. And also it was just basically a series of prompts. Like, there are chapters, and then each chapter has like a meditation prompt, a journaling prompt, but there's a lot of chapters and a lot of them just feel like the same thing over and over. Then I read Star Wars X-Wing Mercy Kill by Aaron Alston, which is the last X-Wing book, and it was actually published like 10 years or more than 10 years after the book that came before it. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I really wanted to read it because I'd read all of the other X-Wing books and I really wanted to finish the series. It felt really disconnected from the rest of the series and more like it should have been a standalone more than an X-Wing book. So there was that, and then I was also just bored throughout a lot of the book, a lot more bored than I remember being for a lot of the other X-Wing books. The last book that I read in May was Some Go Hungry by J. Patrick Redmond. I cannot for the life of me remember how I first heard about this book, but it takes place in southern Indiana, and I am from southern Indiana. It takes place in fictional Fort Sackville, which I am fairly positive is supposed to be Vincennes. Evansville features heavily in this book. They go to Evansville quite a bit, and it's like the metropolis to the small town where the book takes place, which is also the relationship that my town has with Evansville, so that was a very relatable part of the book. The main character of this book, Gray, is gay, and his family owns a popular restaurant in his hometown. He now manages that restaurant because his father's health has declined. Stayed in the closet his entire life because he's been worried that if he comes out, everyone in town will stop eating in his family's restaurant. The book is really just an exploration of sorts about what his experiences are living in the closet in this town where he's never come out, but there are rumors around town and it's this like open secret almost. And really it's just an exploration of like homophobia in small town southern Indiana. As someone who lives in small town southern Indiana, the setting of this book was super relatable. Like, I can relate the town in this book to my hometown easily. I did give the book 3 out of 5 stars, so a pretty neutral rating. The thing is, the setting was incredibly relatable for me, and I really liked a lot of the characters, and I really liked the story, but I wasn't a huge fan of the writing itself. I disliked it enough for that to bring my rating down quite a bit. If it hadn't been for that, I probably would have given the book 4 out of 5 stars. So those are the books that I read in May, and now I'm gonna go through the books that I plan to read in June. I'm actually trying to read all of the print books that I have. That's why I haven't been mentioning Kindle books for a while, like the past few months or whatever. I haven't had any Kindle books in my TBR, and that's because I haven't actually mentioned this in a video. I have talked about it on my blog, on Twitter, but I haven't actually mentioned on YouTube that I'm moving to Japan in July. And obviously it's really difficult to take a bunch of print books with you when you have to follow airline regulations on your luggage. I'm trying to read all of the print books that I have, and I'm down to only 4, thankfully. So I'm gonna have those in my TBR and then a Kindle book. First up, the book I'm currently reading is The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, obviously J.K. Rowling. This is the second Cormoran Strike book, and I took the dust jacket off obviously because I'm reading it. I'm really liking this so far, possibly liking it more than the first one, but it's been so long since I read that might not be an accurate assessment. It might just be because this is the one I'm currently reading. And immediately after that, I plan to read Career of Evil by Robert Galbraith, which is the third Cormoran Strike book. Then we have much bigger books. The Rift by Brian Konietzko, Michael Dante DiMartino, Jean Luen Yang, and Gurihiru. I may be pronouncing that wrong. So I've read some of the Avatar comics before and talked about them, but those have all been the single volumes because all the Avatar comics come out in 3 separate volumes, and then they release them combined into one library edition, and that's what this is. So it has all 3 volumes in it. The first Avatar comic that I've bought like this instead of individual comics, and I like how pretty it looks and how it has extra information, but I haven't been a huge fan of the past Avatar comics. I am such a huge Avatar fan that I know I have to read the comics even if I'm really behind, but I haven't liked the others that much, and some things they've done have made me really angry, so we'll see how I feel about this one. I think this one centers around Toph, who hasn't been in the others that much, so that's exciting. But then we have the one that's probably gonna really make me angry, Smoke and Shadow by all of the same people. Then after that, the Kindle book that I plan to read this month. My Kindle is actually dead, which I did not know until immediately before filming this video because, like I said, I've been trying to read print books. I hadn't picked my Kindle up in months. So I opened it and it was dead, which I should have thought about ahead of time. So I will have to show you on my phone. But I have this box set. The box set is called Godin Mortals, but it's 11 different paranormal urban fantasy novels by a variety of different authors. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the list of authors who wrote the books. So there are 11 novels within this one box set, and the box set was, I do not know if it currently still is, free on Amazon. I don't even know if the box set is still up on Amazon. Thing is, a lot of these are the beginnings of series, which I typically try to avoid reading even if they are free, because I don't want to get sucked into another series. I've been trying to avoid starting series because I have too many that I need to finish. And so even if they're free, I haven't been wanting to start them. But it was 11 free books, so I caved. The first book in this collection is, I think the series name, I'm still trying to figure out how exactly this information is laid out, but I think the series name is the Elsker Saga by S.T. Bende. First book in that series, which is what's in this collection, is The Prophecy of Ragnarok. I have no idea what it's about. I think that is all, and I will see you guys later. Bye.